Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Real Talks. I'm your host, David Steele. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I know it's Tuesday, um, so I just wanted to address something real quick um, because of what transpired yesterday, that tragedy in Nashville. I just, I had everything set up. I was ready to go, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And so that's why I put out that tweet, yesterday about not that yesterday was not the day for entertainment. And so, um, that's why I didn't do a show. And I thought it would have been disrespectful to not only everybody who was there, um, who has gone through something like that, everything. So that's why I didn't do a show yesterday. I wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page, and you know, and let me say this outright: my heart goes out to all of those families that lost somebody yesterday. Um, I could go on and rant for hours about this, but I'm not going to because this is the epidemic in this country. So that's all I'm going to say to that. And this is, it's one of those things where I wish we could change it, but we can't. So on that note, couple of things off the top, though. One of the big things off the top. Had a chance to watch the Elemental trailer today. I loved it. I love Pixar in general. I mean, I think Toy Story is their coup d'état, their creme la creme. I loved it. I think it's going to be so much fun. I don't know how well it'll do, but it is what it is. And Coco, the Elemental trailer, was fabulous. I loved it. It was really cool. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to be. It was so much fun, especially with the water getting squeezed, into the sponge. It looks like a really, really good time. So that will definitely bring smiles to a lot of people's faces. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So, a couple big things actually. So the first one is this, and there was a movie that came out last week, did really, really well, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, and that's John Wick. John Wick absolutely blew up. Um, so this comes from the Hollywood Reporter, and this is interesting because they said John Wick back on the table after a box office blowup. Yeah. By the way, this has spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but just in case. Yeah, Lionsgate is thinking about bringing John Wick back. John Wick 4 had been expected to be the final installment in the main action franchise, but a fifth film is back on the table after the latest movie's astonishing opening at the global box office, according to Lionsgate Motion Picture Group chair Joe Drake. Directed by, and I'm going to butcher his name, so forgive me, Chad Skaczynski, and returning Keanu Reeves in the titular role as the iconic assassin, the unstoppable action pick served up a huge $73.8 million domestically after pristine audiences reviews and an A cinema score from audiences. The results were just as impressive overseas, where the movie debuted to a resounding $67.6 million from 71 markets for over $140 million, series record on all fronts. Making fifth installment of John Wick is no small challenge, considering that Reeves' character seemingly meets his demise at the end of Chapter 4. But on Sunday, Lionsgate Drake told the Hollywood Reporter that a John Wick 5 is no longer out of the question. There is a will and an openness, and you can certainly interpret that ending in many ways, says Drake. We're going all the way into a tiny rest here and then scratch at ideas to whether or not there could be a credible way to go into 5, but there's no guarantee. It's a potential about face for the creative team, as Skaczynski had stated he and Reeves were fairly certain that this was for the end. The director had previously considered making a fourth and fifth back-to-back, but the idea was scrapped once the ending of John Wick 4 was decided upon. Wick noted, Keanu and Chad, rightfully so, are very protective and never screwing with the audience. So we certainly have our work cut out for us. Keanu is beloved, and that character is so beloved that's not lost on him. Nor is it lost on Reeves that John Wick 4 is the second best domestic opening in his live-action career, behind The Matrix Reloaded, which started at 91.8 million domestic over 2 decades ago. So, and of course, he was in Toy Story 3. So let's talk about it real quick. I think that, so yeah, you were saying that you hope he faked his death in the movie. Now, I haven't seen it, so it'll be interesting to see. So, that being said, let's talk about what they could possibly do here and how this would actually work for the franchise. I think that if you decide to make a fifth one, it won't be for maybe 3 to 4 years, okay? Because you have to really, you have to let this sink in. You have to get a new story created and, have that whole thing happen. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that it's out of the question. Hell, even the Lionsgate president said that there could be a possibility here. I don't know how it would work, though. And that's what he was saying. I think that if you make a fifth one, okay, that maybe it could be a prequel. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. I mean, I know they're going to be doing a spin-off series as far as Ballerina is concerned. And he's supposed to appear in that a couple times. We'll see about that. But I think that if they're going to do it, A, it has to be the right story. B, he has to want to come back. And C, this is going to be making money. All that being said, I think you could do it. I think it will be interesting. I think it would be fascinating. And I could see them doing a prequel. I really, really, really could. So it's not out of the realm. It's not out of the realm, and it's not, but don't forget too, they've got a lot of other stuff lined up. So this isn't something that's just gonna come out in the next couple of years. I think it'd be fascinating though. I mean, sometimes you just got to leave well enough alone, and that's it. I think I don't know. This is one of those movies that you have to debate. No, that's okay. That's okay. I hadn't seen it, and I hadn't seen any of the John Wick's, Coco, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So don't worry about the spoiler. So this is fascinating because here's the thing. Okay, this is one of those movies now that goes into do they need a sequel? Do they need another movie? I was having this debate with somebody the other night. Another one you can think of right off the top of my head, is Joker. Did it need a sequel? Sure, it could use a sequel, but does it need it? I don't know. Now, look, it made $1 billion. All that being said, though, I think that this would be a fascinating thing. But like I said, you're probably not going to see a sequel for several years down the road. And it's one of those things where if they do it, I just hope they put the right story to it. But what do you think, guys? Do you think they should make a John Wick 5? If so, what kind of story would you like to see? And would you like to see Keanu come back? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll reply to everybody.